The Great Fire of London. Imagine waking up in the dead of night to the crackling sound of fire, the air thick with smoke and the sky painted with shades of orange and red. This isn't the plot of a thriller movie, but a real event from history. The Great Fire of London. In 1666, a small spark in a baker's oven on Pudding Lane kindled a firestorm that would consume the heart of London. This wasn't just any fire, it was a catastrophic event that changed the face of one of the world's greatest cities forever. Grab your imaginary time-traveling gear. We're about to dive into the story of the Great Fire of London, a tale of destruction, transformation, and ultimately, rebirth. The spark that lit the city. It all began at a seemingly ordinary night, September 2nd, 1666, in the bakery of Thomas Fariner. London at the time was a bustling, crowded city with houses, mostly made of wood, packed together tightly on long, narrow, winding streets, a perfect recipe for disaster. The fire started innocently enough, as many fires do, but London was ripe for a calamity. The summer had been exceptionally dry, turning the wooden structures and thatched roofs of the city into tinder. As the flames escaped the bakery, they found a city ready to burn. The initial response was slow and confused. In an era without a firefighting brigade, it was up to the local community to combat the blaze. But the fire outmatched their primitive firefighting methods. Buckets of water made little impact, and fire breaks, created by demolishing houses to stop the fire's spread, were too small and too late. The narrow streets acted like wind tunnels, fanning the flames and carrying burning debris to new fuel. The fire's appetite was insatiable, and by the end of the first day, it had begun its relentless march through the city. A city engulfed. By the second day, the Great Fire had grown into a monster. It consumed everything in its path, homes, churches, and even the grand St. Paul's Cathedral. The heart of medieval London was in flames, and the fire showed no signs of stopping or slowing down. Panic set in as people scrambled to save their families and belongings. The River Thames, which should have been a natural barrier and a source of water, was cluttered with goods as people desperately tried to save what they could. The chaos was palpable, with the streets filled with people fleeing, carts overloaded with their possessions, and the constant backdrop of flames and smoke. The government, under the leadership of King Charles II, was initially paralyzed by the scale of the disaster. However, as the fire continued to rage out of control, drastic measures were taken. The king himself and his brother James, Duke of York, joined the efforts to fight the fire. They ordered the creation of larger fire breaks, even if it meant blowing up entire blocks of houses. These efforts finally began to turn the tide. After 4 days of destruction, the wind dropped and the fire breaks started to hold. The Great London Fire was finally brought under control, but it left behind a city in ruins. Over 13,200 houses were destroyed, 87 churches were lost, and an estimated 70,000 of the city's 80,000 inhabitants were left homeless. Yet, remarkably, the death toll was surprisingly low, officially recorded as only a handful of people, though the actual number may have been higher. The rebirth of London. The Great Fire of London was a catastrophe, but it was also a catalyst for change. In the fire's aftermath, London faced the colossal task of rebuilding. This disaster provided an opportunity to reimagine the city. The medieval, chaotic layout of London was replaced with planned, wider streets and new buildings made of brick and stone rather than wood, making them less susceptible to the fires of the future. The rebuilding of London was led by remarkable figures, including the famous architect Sir Christopher Wren, who was responsible for designing the new St. Paul's Cathedral, a masterpiece of the English Baroque style and a symbol of London's resilience. The fire also led to significant changes in fire prevention and firefighting techniques. The need for a more organized approach to fighting fires was clear. This led to the creation of insurance companies that employed their own fire brigades. Over time, these evolved into a more formalized fire service. Building regulations were also tightened to improve fire resistance, a lesson learned from the ashes of the Great Fire. As London rose from its ashes, the event spurred a wave of innovation and legislation that would not only transform the city, but also leave a lasting legacy on urban development and city planning worldwide. The rebuilding effort was massive and required visionary thinking to ensure such a catastrophe would never happen again. Sir Christopher Wren's designs for the new London included wider streets to replace the narrow alleyways that had fueled the fire spread. His plan also proposed grand plazas and new buildings constructed from fire-resistant materials like brick and stone instead of timber. Though not all of Wren's ambitious plans were realized, his influence on New London was undeniable. The city that emerged was more modern, organized, and beautiful, symbolizing a new era of urban development. The aftermath of the Great Fire also highlighted the importance of effective governance and public services. The disaster demonstrated the need for a standing, trained fire brigade, leading to the establishment of the London Fire Engine Establishment in the 18th century. This was a precursor to modern fire services, not just in London but around the world, emphasizing the importance of preparedness and professional response to emergencies. Similarly, the fire underscored the need for urban planning and building codes. Regulations introduced after the fire, such as requiring buildings to be constructed of brick and stone, laid the foundation for modern building regulations that prioritize the safety and well-being of city inhabitants. The psychological impact of the Great Fire of London and its people was profound. It fostered a spirit of resilience and community as Londoners worked together to rebuild their city. This collective effort to rise from the calamity helped forge a new identity for London itself as a city that could withstand and overcome great adversity. Stories of heroism, from King Charles II and his brother working alongside ordinary citizens to fight the fire, to the countless individuals who helped their neighbors in times of need, became part of the lore of the city, inspiring future generations. Moreover, the Great Fire of London has left an indelible mark on literature and popular culture. It has been immortalized in works by famous authors such as Samuel Pepys, whose diary provides a first-hand account of the fire and its impact on London society. The event has also inspired numerous novels, plays, and films, reflecting its enduring fascination as a moment of tragedy and triumph. This cultural legacy helps keep the memory of the fire alive, serving as a reminder of the power of human resilience and the capacity for renewal in the face of disaster. The revitalized London that emerged post-fire became a beacon of hope and a model for future urban development. Cities around the globe look to London as an example of how to rebuild smarter, safer, and more beautifully. The disaster recovery efforts showcase the potential to turn tragedy into an opportunity for advancement and growth. It highlighted the significance of adaptability and the need for cities to be prepared for unforeseen disasters. The Great Fire's impact was such that it led to the establishment of fire insurance companies, the genesis of modern fire brigades, and the implementation of building codes that prioritize the safety of urban environments. The Great Fire of London was more than just a historic event. It was a turning point. From the ashes of the old city, a new London emerged, safer, more organized, and ready to face the future. The fire is a reminder of the destructive power of nature, but also of human resilience and the ability to rebuild and improve in the face of adversity. The Great Fire of London lives on in the city's memory, not just as a disaster, but as a moment of rebirth, a testament to the enduring spirit of London and its people. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day and I'll see you in the next video.